Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the greatest recordings ever. And today, I've just been going through, we have so many greatest recordings to talk about, don't we? I really do. I mean, it's so much fun to go through these things and pick out the really, really good stuff. I mean, it just gives me a rush. I don't know about you. And today, we're talking about Rossini, the Italian woman in Algiers. L'Italiana in Algeri. Oh my goodness, what a great recording this one is. It features, are you ready? Let's see, Samuel Ramey, Kathleen Battle, Clara Foti, Nicola Zaccaria, Ernesto Palacio, ooh baby, and the incredible, amazing Marilyn Horne in one of her great roles as Isabella, the Italian woman of the title. And then Domenico Trimarchi, everybody's favorite baritono buffo. Wow, what a cast. And it's all led with wonderful verve and effervescence by Caudio Scimone with I Solisti Veneti. Yeah, Veneti, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, they're Solistis and they're Venetians. Wow, what a performance this is, and what a great opera. Oh, it's funny, it's witty, it's insane. The action's swift and marvelous, and the singing is just incredible. Now, the Italian woman in Algiers is noteworthy for many things, but particularly its Act 1 finale. And in the Act 1 finale, everything gets so muddled and mussed up that the singers are rendered speechless and are reduced to making military and animal noises. In other words, they're going. The cannons are going boom, 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 and the crows are going cat, 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 and whack, 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 and wee. That's what they do. And all of them, I mean, they're all in it. There's like 7 or 8 soloists, and they're all chattering and chirping and screeching away in this at high speed, very, very high speed. And of course, words eventually filter in, and the words are usually, I don't know what's going on, I'm losing my mind, it's all completely nuts. Oh gosh, it's wonderful. It's an abstract piece in a sense, because the words don't make any difference at all. You just listen to the way all of these singers are trapped in this maniacal mechanism of musical madness. How's that for alliteration? It's extraordinary, and it's performed here with unbelievable fleetness and intensity. There are other wonderful recordings of this opera. It's not an opera that is elusive in performance if you have great singers, but you've got to have great singers. I mean, the singing is everything in this music, of course. And so, boy, this is on Erato, if it still exists somewhere. I hope it does. And it comes with a libretto. This was the libretto series, which is one of the reasons I got it. Well, I had it in its previous incarnation as well. And here is the libretto, which I'm sure, if it still exists, no longer exists. And it's, I think it's only in Italian. Yes, it's only in Italian, but I don't care. You can find it easily enough online. And the music is just Rossini at his most comically delicious. I've always enjoyed this opera far more than The Barber of Seville. I have to tell you, I think it's funnier, and I think it goes quicker, and the main arias are just as delicious. I mean, it's just full of wonderful music and great tunes and delightful orchestration, and I just can't get enough of it, really. And this is one of those recordings. Someone said to me, very kindly, I thought, you should talk about opera more frequently. Well, yes, except that, like I've said before, opera is kind of a universe apart, and it's a universe populated by people who live, breathe, and die for it. And I am not one of those people. I like opera because I like composers. And if those composers wrote operas, then I like operas. I mean, that's the way I do it. I don't have an, life or death affection for the medium itself. which is wonderful. But, I have to really love the work. And Rossini is one of those composers that I collect. I mean, he's one of those composers I think was just amazing, and he's terribly underrated because he is the other, because he was in Italy and, not in Vienna, but he is the other of the great classical composers. The great Viennese classical composers, Haydn, Mozart, Beethoven. You could argue Schubert, who was sort of transitional and died very young, but also Rossini, because the classical period was the period in which his operas were created. He wrote them all up until about 1829, which was the death of Beethoven. So yes, he was a classical composer, and he had that classical sense of wit and fun and clarity and formal perfection. His forms were not the forms of classical instrumental music, they were his own. But he codified the forms of Italian opera for like the next century. And my God, was he talented. Unbelievably talented and terribly underrated because he wrote mostly comedies. Well, he didn't write mostly comedies. He was famous for comedies. But the more you look at his work, the more you realize what a revolutionary and brilliant genius he was. And it's quite evident even in this light, frothy bit of fluff. It's not really fluff. It's serious fluff. It's heavy fluff. It's fluff with fur. It's wonderful. Just wonderful music. And this is a glorious performance of it. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.